But we got the paperwork on Rap News Street Politics, though. And it's jumping off with Salvatore Nania, a.k.a. Crook, from 16th Street, who was already sitting down behind the walls for a murder in 1997. And he was said to be running things with Salvador Perez, a.k.a. Smokey, over here in and outside the projects. So we know how the feds play. They do the usual, using wiretaps, confidential informants, poll cameras, recording devices, vehicle trackers, and undercover purchases to really come down hard on Rancho San Pedro and all the hoods that be in federal indictments. Now, this is the third federal indictment that Rancho San Pedro has came under since 2011. There was the one in 2011, one in 2019. Here we are in 2025. The feds still trying to move these dudes around, but they not going. Now, Smokey and Crook were caught on multiple wiretaps in regards to their position as associates from the Mexican Mafia. Now, that's a key thing here because the Mexican Mafia has documented members. Like I said, there's only about 140 to 150 actual members of the Mexican Mafia, but they have a wide range of associates who also have secretaries and different levels of hierarchy within the structure, but not everybody is going to be actual full-fledged members of La M. And the same holds true for Crook and Smokey, mere associates of the Mexican Mafia, but taking directives from La M. Now, other people that played large roles in this indictment was Dizzy, aka Angelica Wirtz, from that Locos clique. The key thing about Rancho San Pedro, they have 6 different cliques, 2 of which are female cliques, one being the Locos, the other being the Malditas, and the 4 other cliques are the Locos, 3rd Street, 16th Street, and Santa Cruz. Now, Dizzy, just like most other females, serve as conduits from the pen to the streets and secretaries to dudes that are either in the Mexican Mafia or associates to the Mexican Mafia. It's always good to have a little female around, and there's going to be multiple that we about to speak on throughout the harbor area that communicate shit from the pen to the streets and have a hand in making sure the hood is running right. We also got David Titus, criminal, from that 3rd Street clique. Jose Castro, aka Rojo. Victor Rodriguez from that Santa Cruz clique, aka Shadow. These are some of the main players that the feds put their eye on who were running around San Pedro, putting the squeeze on the streets. Now, to start everything off, it said that Crook and Smokey were supplying a lot of dudes in the pen with cell phones, making sure everybody stayed in communication. In this complaint, with the indictment not being dropped yet, the complaint usually has a little more details in it opposed to the indictment going straight through naming off charges and overt acts. Now, of course, with everything being alleged, these dudes still got to have their day in court. So these are just allegations that the feds have set forth. They said they spent a lot of time recovering cell phones. Even if the cell phone is deleted, y'all gotta pay attention. The feds are explaining how things that are deleted from a phone can still be recovered months or years after they're deleted. Some of y'all gonna fall into this trick bag with having too much on that phone and thinking y'all know what y'all doing with keeping it around. The feds are plotting on this, and this is how they opened up these investigations on Rancho San Pedro. Now, with Crook sitting in Centinela and Smokey sitting in Kern Valley, the feds had all day to sit on these phones with these dudes. And they were communicating with Shadow from Santa Cruz and Leopoldo Rodriguez, aka Camel, who were outside in the projects as their shot callers in person to the streets. One of the main foot soldiers they was trying to get to was Criminal.
This week, we're hosting a free trading and investing workshop right here in Woodland Hills. Inside this workshop,
Now, this dude was doing a whole lot. He was falling in and out of favor with his homies, and they was trying to backdoor this man. One thing that had him under scrutiny that the feds watched him doing is trapping in the West Side Weemas at the Right Step Hotel, which is off of Anaheim and Watson, again, in a Enemigo hood. Criminal, being a member of 3rd Street, was low-key seeming like a crash out. And even though he was out there performing for Smokey and Shadow, they set up a plan to kidnap and rob him on September 28, 2024. Now, the feds had intercepted a wiretap where they was talking about this move with another dude named Seiko, aka Jesse Lopez. Shadow had instructed Seiko to go with suspect Renee Balazar from that Locos clique and get up on Criminal because they felt like he was doing too much in the Westside Wemas. Now, one common thing we see the feds do when they hear somebody getting plotted on like this is an opportunity for them to jump in, play Captain Save-A-Ho, and try to flip somebody into being an informant. They ran the Criminal mama house in Carson and tried to let him know, like, hey, your homie's finna backdoor you. He wasn't there. They ended up talking to his mom about the situation, but Criminal wasn't hearing none of that shit. He stayed down in the hood. And 2 months later, they caught him on the wiretap, staying true to the program, telling somebody how Smokey runs San Pedro and everybody knows how to follow the program with him. So he was out here trying to be a solid soldier for the set, even though they was trying to knock this nigga off, which is something that we see is common between the Mexican mafia and Southside hoods in general. Regardless of your standing, they will take your ass out with consistent mistakes. Now, this indictment showed the real divide that Smokey and Crook had in the hood. They basically had their own little teams. Smokey dealing with Shadow, Criminal, Seiko, Suspect, and Crook dealing with his secretary Dizzy, aka Angelica Wirtz, to get that shit done and that money sent up top. So Dizzy, again, a part of that Locos clique, was collecting taxes from everybody in the hood, sending that money to Crook, and of course Crook passing it on past him to them members. But not only was she collecting taxes from members in the hood, she was also extorting weed shops. And the feds caught her on wiretap talking about when she put Shadow and Suspect onto her game when Suspect got out from doing a shooting where he was trying to take out somebody from Westside Wemas. She was trying to put Suspect on his feet, being that he was fresh out, gave him the game on how to extort weed shops, but made the caveat that he gotta send some money up top to Crook. Suspect first started doing it with her, learned the game, and then put his homie Shadow on, and they formed their own little crew. This is where Dizzy, staying loyal to Crooks, felt the type of way that Suspect basically took the game and ran with it. Now, she was low-key somebody not to play with. Pretty in the face, but she was out here doing some shit and dealing with them members. She was mad that Suspect cut her and Crook out and wasn't paying his taxes to the hood like he should have been. He probably was pinching and splitting most of his proceeds with Smokey, who was sitting down, and passing it on to whoever he was fucking with in Kern Valley. Now, Suspect had told her that he didn't want to fuck around with sending money to Crooks anymore because Crook had pretty much pinched his whole sack off, leaving him with crumbs for him and Shadow to split. And this is where the feds catch Dizzy on the wiretap talking about how she really tapped in with them members and them guys, and Suspect and Shadow need to stop playing games with their money. This is what I'm talking about with this backdoor shit. It's a lot of jealousy, insatiable greed that goes on between these members. All they caring about is this money, and this is where the feds thrive off of. Business stays running around the clock with these Southsider hoods because it's always money to be made. So Dizzy had it in her mind eventually they was gonna end up having to put the squeeze on Suspect and Shadow if that money didn't turn right between her and Crook. But February of this year, February 10th, 2025, the feds caught her doing some whole other shit, impersonating a federal officer, pulling up to somebody's house as if she was a special agent with the FBI, had pulled a gun out, tried to kick their dough in to rob her. She was out here trying to get that money for her and Crook, man, doing her shit. And this was a role that a lot of these females be playing, that somewhat secretary role, like I was saying, in these hoods. She's not the first and won't be the last. Now, like I said, Suspect, who's a part of that Locos clique, was down on an attempted murder on a dude from Westside Wemas. And he's back out, jumped right into a federal investigation, trying to get his feet wet in this shit. He was the one Shadow tried to use with Seiko to kidnap and rob Criminal. But Suspect had it in his mind that he was gonna bring that strap. So you know what it was finna turn into. But the feds ended up kicking in his door, seizing guns and drugs, and he was in possession of a 380 that was connected to a shooting again. He was already out after an attempted murder on the Westside Wemas, so he fell into some bullshit as soon as he hit the streets again. Now at the same time, the feds is watching Dizzy, Suspect, and Criminal run around San Pedro. Shadow and Camel, again, Camel is also a shot caller out here, got Rojo, who was serving as a drug broker, also plotting on backdooring other Rancho San Pedro members. December 12, 2024, Rojo and Camel discussed kidnapping